Hello and welcome to another episode of Lean Business Agility. Today from Sao Paulo, and with me is Rodrigo Yoshima. Hi Rodrigo.
Hi Klaus.
Cool, thanks that you have some time for me here.
No, it's a pleasure.
In Sao Paulo, 33 degrees outside.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yes, summer's coming.
Yeah, true. Okay, so, but we don't want to talk about summer and sun. We want to talk about leadership and cultural differences. Leadership/management and cultural differences. But before we start, who are you actually?
Well, my name is Rodrigo, and what I've been doing here in Brazil and now popping up in the rest of the world is basically helping people. That's been my motto for something like 10 years or so. And one of the tools that I've been using to help people is management through Kanban method, Agile, and other stuff that can help. So basically, this is the thing that I'm doing for like 15 years or so. And I think there's a lot of work to do on this. On this work of helping people, you know, engaging people for better quality products and better quality services, and basically is this, you know.
As you already mentioned, I mean, 15 years, so you have quite a lot of experience, and what I know, you have also quite a lot of experience with management and leadership.
Yes.
So culture, we're in Brazil here.
Yes.
What is the difference between management and leadership in Brazil to the rest of the world? I know it doesn't work like this because we're talking about stereotypes, right? And of course there is not Brazil, but still there's probably some things that are special for Brazil and that are not so common in other cultures.
Yes, I think that's the point. You know, we can generalize the stuff that that there's a stereotype of manager that in Brazil they're like this or there. Maybe the generations are changing a little bit. Maybe it's worldwide. In fact, the globalization is here, so I see that there's a lot of influences of other countries. But what I see here in Brazil right now is that maybe this shift of the generations is not exactly happening as fast as we want to. But what I see here in Brazil that we are a low trust society, so we are a kind of country that believes a lot in hierarchy. So usually when you see someone that is on a higher rank on the hierarchy, usually you think that they are better than you, or maybe they have more power because they earn it or something like that, you know. And the perception that I have is that maybe it's different in places that I went, like US or other places in Europe. And also here in Brazil, you know that Sônia Siderova in Lincoln, Brazil last week, she brought a data that was really interesting. Brazil, managers here in Brazil, they don't deal good, they don't feel comfortable with uncertainty. This is something that you somehow change the way that they see leadership and management because they somehow will avoid uncertainty. So this is really bad for the world that we live in right now, because when you see the way that the market is evolving, you know, there's competitors popping here and there, and changes in technology. So if you want to be on a safe place, you know, probably you'll be managing. You manage not that well because the world today is uncertain somehow.
So manage for uncertainty. I'm not sure if this is only a Brazilian kind of thing. So maybe it also has to do with the kind of organization you're in. So just from my experience, so I see this uncertainty, this fear for uncertainty quite often in Europe as well. And it's particular in organizations who are used to think in project plans and stuff like this. If you talk to younger organizations, younger in terms of, we grew up with the internet, something like this. So the internet
products and stuff like that.
Services.
Yes.
Services, startups, they are more like, there is uncertainty. Of course, it always feels uncomfortable.
Yes.
but
No,
still, they are dealing a little bit differently with it. So it's just a hypothesis. I have no idea.
Yeah, but you know that here in Brazil, we don't have something like Spotify. We don't have something like YouTube. We don't have a global products.
Okay.
And maybe we don't have the product culture. That's what I see, you know. By the time that I've been to US in 2016, I spent something like 6 months in there working, and I've been in touch with something like 4 different companies that are product companies. And what I see is that they are entrepreneurs, you know. They know how to approach the market. They know who the customer is, and this is something that is missing in Brazil because here in Brazil we have an industry, you know, manufacturing tradition. You have a lot of factories here in Brazil, but for the products and services that are on the 21st century, we don't have this tradition, you know, like you see in US and other places in Europe. Okay?
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, there is uncertainty out there. Nevertheless, a lot of cultures, managers, leaders, they don't accept it somehow. But can we somehow give them some guidance, or what can we do to help them understand that uncertainty? It doesn't have to be something bad. I mean, it's just there.
Okay. No. Yes. The way I see it, that there are a bunch of guys, not only here in Brazil, but in the rest of the world, that they're some kind changing. They're approaching the change management as something like, you know, the Born platform approach, you know, as a situation that you create some elements that, you know, you have to change, and you have to change it drastically for you to achieve these results, you know. And this is something that I'm not doing anymore here in Brazil. It's just something that I don't know that it works for the kind of culture that we have here. And what we do today is that, you know, you understand that you are afraid of uncertainty. You know that you will be more comfortable with the knowns and not the unknowns. And the thing is that today what we do is how to evolve these guys, how to change gradually or incrementally or evolutionarily instead of doing the big changes, you know, because these guys feel really uncomfortable with big changes, you know.
Yeah.
And the thing that I like about flight levels is exactly because for this kind of problem, you have some kind of disconnection about what is happening on the shop floor and what is happening on the management level, you know. And the way that I see that flight levels can help is this connection between the strategy, you know, the operational level, and I think that this is something that will work. You know?
Yeah, and it's, as I said, you can also use it as an evolutionary approach, of course.
Yes.
So you don't throw the people into the hot or cold water.
Yeah, exactly.
But you get used to it. And I mean, I really like this quote from Gandhi, I guess it is, be the change that you want to see in the world. So it might make sense that we start in the change process already. So as you said, not just, okay, this is the plan now.
Okay. Now,
how to get there.
Let's start accepting this stuff. That's not that way that happens, you know.
Exactly.
You need to put some elements in the process or in the management style of the guy that you make they feel that they need to change.
Yeah.
You know, that's the sense of the stuff. You know, because what we've learned from change management for the last 20 years, you know, is that this big bang approaches and something that, you know, now this is the model, this is the way they are going to behave. This simply doesn't work.
This doesn't work.
I failed a lot with this kind of approaches in the past, you know. And now the way I see is that, you know, the managers need to evolve. Okay, it's something that they need to have some reflection mechanisms and some feedbacks that they understand that the world change and that they have a better products and more focus on the market. And understand that all this volatility and uncertainty they have in the market is something that's an everyday job.
It's there, cool. So one last question. If you, to our watchers here, if you have, I don't know, 1, 2, or 3 tips what they can do to overcome this issue, of uncertainty, to accept it actually, that's what it is. What would you do? Your highlights.
I would say that, first of all, companies and people today, they are somehow affected with this urgency of change, you know. One thing that I learned over the years is that you need to have patience, you know. Things are not going to change overnight. The other stuff is that you need to somehow, like I said, create some reflection mechanism or feedback for the managers to understand what they are going, what they are doing. And I would say that the other stuff is you need to somehow not focus on structure of the stuff and more about what your customer wants, what are their needs. I say that today, like I said, in low trust societies, you have a lot of orders coming up and down on the hierarchy, you know. And I see that the value, for example, that Amazon have is that the customer are driving many of the decisions that are taking place for driving the company, you know. So if you understand the market, if you have a strong customer voice in your company, you know, I think that you have better decisions. So listening to your customer would be my last tip here.
That sounds like a good tip, actually.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks, Rodrigo, for your time here.
No, it's a pleasure to have you here in Brazil.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So
yes.
we're in the flight levels training. That's the lunch break, and people are already waiting outside of the door.
Yes.
So we are quite rude here. But we will fix this. So lunch break is over. Thanks for your time, and yeah, that's it for today. Goodbye.
Bye-bye, guys.